Then, on the 11th of June 1847, Captain Sir John Franklin would join the dead. By then, the symptoms of scurvy and lead poisoning would both be apparent to the doctors and scientists aboard the ships, but there wasn't much they could do to stop them at this point. No notable plant life grows in the Canadian Arctic, and the wildlife could be just as dangerous. The crews did have hunting tools, spears, muskets, and other equipment with them, but the Arctic seals, polar bears, and fish all carry botulism type E. This is the only strain of botulism that can exist in such cold temperatures. The native Inuit had spent thousands of years building genetic resistance to it, but the same couldn't be said for Europeans. A single piece of meat improperly cooked, or the blood of a butchered animal getting on another piece of food could be a death sentence. Finally, in the winter of 1847 to 1848, with no sign of the expedition, the Admiralty agreed to act. Something was wrong and they couldn't afford to ignore the year-long public outcry any longer. In early 1848, a search and rescue operation was sent from both the Pacific and Atlantic ends of the passage, as well as overland. One of the men to participate in the search was James Ross, who was one of the men who had passed up a chance to lead the expedition at the request of his wife. He then set sail on the HMS Enterprise to try and save the life of his close friend, Francis Crozier. At the same time, the Admiralty offered a £20,000 reward for anyone who assisted the expedition, or around $2.5 million today, and $10,000 for any information about what happened. In April of 1848, it must have been clear to the expedition that they had no choice. Their food was due to run out that summer, and even those estimates had assumed that the 16,000 cans would all be edible. Even with rationing, the end of their supplies was approaching, and with the seas frozen, they would have to walk. So on the 25th of April, they returned to King William Island and left another letter by writing in the margins of the first. It said that Sir John Franklin was dead, along with 9 officers and 15 crew in total. It also stated that the ships had been deserted on the 22nd, and 105 survivors under Crozier would attempt to walk 240 kilometers or 150 miles to Back's Fish River, also known as Back River. Then once they were there, they would try to row to the nearest trading station. So after a year and 7 months of unending winter, the crew finally left, and by then, the situation was desperate. Many of them were unable to handle the physical strain due to being weak, sick, and malnourished from years and living in such horrible conditions. Over 20 bodies from the airbus were found on the coast of King William Island at a series of camps where they had no choice but to leave the dying